In the last video, I talked about how you can learn any type of skill and how you can use that to actually improve your lifestyle and live internationally. And I actually got a comment that said, how can I apply this to my sedentary lifestyle? Now, in this video, I will walk you through exactly how you can use these things that I'm about to show you so that you can use it in your global lifestyle, live a global lifestyle without having to physically be moving or traveling at all. All right, as we begin, I want to share a story with you because this is what literally made the whole difference for me. Now, at the time where I was graduating from university, I studied university in 3 different countries, but the time that I graduated, I was in China. And at the moment that I was graduating from my university, I was already planning to go around the world and finally be free and feeling like I'm not attached anymore to anything that, restrains me to actually keep on moving. And one of the things is, funny enough, I was really going through a hard time mentally, emotionally, and physically due to some, personal losses and things that it was just emotionally a bad time for me. And the fact is, while I wanted to go on and keep on traveling, I had already reached a point where I was kind of feeling empty. And it was funny because, I had been traveling for the last couple of years. It was around 7 years that I had been traveling, almost 8 years that I had been traveling. And by that time where I was already free and I was finally able to just move around and go anywhere that I wanted to, that was the moment where I subconsciously stopped moving that much. And the truth is, I was empty because I wasn't able to connect the dots and I wasn't able to understand how I was going to make it all have a profound purpose or maybe just make sense in the aftermath. Because let's face it, a lot of people, maybe you who is watching this right now, you think, well, I want to be a nomad forever, or I want to travel forever. Or maybe you think, well, I want to, do this for a couple of years or maybe a couple of months or whatever before I start my real life, right? And when I got to that point, I actually faced a wall that I felt where it was time to decide and thinking, should I actually, just stick around with traveling forever and just kind of neglecting money, or should I actually just start a real life and forget about traveling, forget about moving freely and that freedom and independence? Maybe it's just time to let go. And one of the questions that came to my mind was, if I did, would I be happy? And if I did, how would I feel? Like if I quit on the traveling side, how would I feel? And in the other side is, if I kept on traveling forever and I quit on that stability and having the greater things of life, like the luxuries of life, how would I feel? And that is where it got to me, and I thought, why can't I have both? So the reason why I'm sharing this story is because that is literally where I had a realization. And let's look at it from a graphic point of view. When I draw these 2 circles, I'm going to show you exactly what it is that we think about normally. And what we tend to see is, on the left side, let's just talk about having money and having stability. It's the common thing, right? So you got to be stable, you got to stay in one place, you got to have a job so that you can have the money, you can pay the bills and things like that. And on the other side, you have traveling, right? And it feels like where we talk about the freedom of travel and being able to move around and just kind of hop from country to country. And for a lot of people, that seems like a total contrarian of stability, right? Like you're unstable because you just keep on moving. And so one of the things is, when we see these 2 things, we normally really have a divide in our heads. No one really said that, but maybe we learn to think that way with society. And there's just a divide in here where we think that these 2 cannot be merged together. And so therefore, the moment that you hit that wall, just like I did, you actually have to decide whether you want to be, having stability, or whether you want to have the freedom to travel forever. So that's the question that comes to your head. And maybe you who are watching, it's twofold. You are either someone who wants to have, that stability, and maybe it feels like you want to travel, you want to have that freedom, but in the end of the day, you choose to focus on stability and on the money side. And then maybe you from the other side, if it's you in that case, you want to focus on having the freedom and living your dreams and actually, being to your full capacity and being able to travel around the world and have that possibility to be anywhere that you want to be. And so if you focus on that, that's also good, and you decide to do that as your priority, it's also good. But one of the things is, when you decide to say either one, if you say stability or freedom, the fact is this works just like a balance, let's just say. So here's the balance, and here we have the two of this, right? And so what happens is, when we focus, or we choose to focus on one thing and one thing only, like we say, as I was a traveler, it happened to me. I said, you know what? I don't care about money. I don't care about money. And so all I want is to be able to travel, to be able to enjoy my life around the world, and money. And so what I did is I started focusing on this side, which was the travel, right, and the freedom. And let's just say I started investing, because where you put your focus is where you invest your time and your energy and everything, right? So let's just say I started investing in little pearls, and I put 3 pearls on that side. And so what happened was, this thing eventually started to tilt, right? So instead of what it is right now, it was something like this, let's just say. And then the whole weight for the traveling was here, and that meant that the more that I was traveling and the more that I was focusing on that, ironically, the more that I needed money and the more that it became a weight as well, because I had to fulfill that balance of having one thing and then the other at the same time. Now, why am I telling you all this, and what does this have to do with, being a nomadic and sedentary? I'm going to walk you through that just here so that you understand it. When we talk about that stability and that freedom and travel, it is literally just that. So we have this, in this side would be the sedentary. So when we talk about stability and having a home and just permanently being there, and then on the other side being nomadic, right? And so because there's this divide, we tend to think that being sedentary means you have no access to anything beyond your own country, right? Like, I'm just gonna write it, I'm just gonna draw it as orange, like if there was a wall and then you cannot access anything else beyond that, right? And so when you were a nomad, technically is when you jump from this side to that side, and that's when you have access to the global aspect of life, like being in different countries and languages, and just connecting with people, meeting people from different countries. And that is what we tend to see. But the truth is, when we understand that traveling is not only about the experience and the pictures and meeting people right there, but it's about being able to actually capture those resources and use the things that the country provides and can provide to you so that you can upgrade your lifestyle. Once you understand that concept, then physically moving doesn't even have to be a thing, because you can be in your own home country and you can grab things from different countries and bring them into your life, into your sedentary life. So, and when we talk about sedentary and nomadic, it all comes down to movement, right? So I'm just gonna write it down here to the left. It just comes back to move. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep it simple, mobility, right? It's all about mobility. And the fact that you can move doesn't mean that you have to be moving. So you could be nomadic and actually be at one home, right? Not having to be jumping around. And that's the issue in a lot of the ways, because there is this feeling of that balance and that you have to choose either one. That's when people jump from extremes. So they go from being in one place into trying to be in every single place without really learning to enjoy second by second. And so what happens is, sedentary and nomadic is just about the mobility, about the movement. But you don't even have to be moving in order to have a global lifestyle, because here's what happens. When you have those aspects from different countries and you're able to extract those things into your life, let's say this is one country, this is another country, and this is another country. Let's just say this is China, and I'm gonna write it down below just so that you're, wait a second. So let's just say that this is China, okay? To make it easy, I'm gonna do it with characters. Okay, China. And then let's just say that this is Turkey. And let's say that this one below, what do you guys want? Whatever, Canada. Right? So let's just say these are 3 countries, and this is you. I'm gonna try to draw a very handsome you, smiley. And so when you are in your home country, this is your home country, you're spending your time here, you don't move, you don't go anywhere. All you do is just stay in that country, but you want to have the capacity to actually improve your lifestyle with these things that I'm talking about. And so if you are in Mexico forever, right, you don't want to move. The truth is there are still a lot of things that you can take advantage of from different countries, right? And so what happens is, if you want to, let's say, upgrade your lifestyle in terms of a cultural aspect, because there's so many areas, right? There's a lot of areas in your life. There's the spiritual area, the emotional, the social, cultural, professional, financial, right? There's a lot of things. And if we talk about your cultural side to it, traveling can feel like it is cultural growth, because you get to see different places and you get to explore cultures. But what it is instead of just going to the country, right, for what is for nomads normally, instead of just going to the country, seeing the country, and then just coming back home, just seeing that as a visit, what if you could actually use that in a way that even without going to the country, you can extract certain things from the country. Now, what does China have to offer for you so that you can upgrade your lifestyle? It could be different for every type of person, or for every person, right? Maybe you have zero interest in China, but maybe some people have. Whatever the country it is for you, you just fill the blanks, fill in the blanks. But in my case, let's say I wasn't very interested in China in a long time. I eventually ended up studying there because, you know what, I wanted to learn Mandarin, and I thought there were very valuable things to learn. The history, maybe literature, some of the things there, right? And so what I did is, forget about the physical part. Me being able to extract something from China, like saying, you know what, if I learn the language, or if I use advantage of the language that's spoken here, even in Mexico, I can meet people who speak Chinese. And guess what? every place I've been to, I've always met someone who speaks Mandarin. And so every single time I meet someone who speaks Mandarin, I get a new relationship, and I get to improve that, whether it is, maybe in the streets, or maybe they work somewhere and I get free food, whatever it is. But it helps me because I am able to integrate that one thing and that one resource from the country into my life, regardless of where I am. So that is what makes the whole difference. And this is literally something, I wish someone told me before. I had to discover this the hard way, literally traveling, almost over a decade right now. But it took me a lot of years to understand that traveling was not only about going to the place and enjoying my stay while I was there, but about finding the opportunities that country offers to improve my lifestyle. Traveling is not the goal, but is a method or a medium of growth and personal growth. When you see it that way, the country itself becomes like a whole bank of resources that you could use depending on what you want in life. And so the same thing applies for Turkey. Let's say in Turkey they have great food. You don't have to go to Turkey to eat the great food, right? Maybe you can figure out how to make it, and you can do that just in Mexico. You can prepare something like kebab, durum, whatever it is, durum kebab. If you like it, you want to try to prepare something similar to that in Mexico, you can, right? And that is just talking about food. But in other sense, let's talk about the professional or the financial side of things. Out of these countries, yeah, probably not the best for taxes or for financial purposes. Let's say maybe Canada has a good currency, right? So instead of you working in Mexico and getting paid in peso, why don't you charge in Canadian dollar? Let's say that was the best currency, right? So of course, US dollar could be a strong currency that you can be paid on. But if you said that Canada was a place where maybe whatever it is you wanted to buy real estate in the future, or you just have something for Canada, you want to go visit maybe a week and then come back, and you wanted to have Canadian dollar, then of course you can grab that and then you can start implementing it in your life. And so what happens is, even if you are in Mexico and you say you want to save Turkish lira, because Turkish lira, let's say if you save in dollar and then buy Turkish lira, that would be a benefit. So why not buy Turkish lira and actually implement it into your life? You can even buy or open a bank account and buy things in Turkey without you being there. And the same thing goes for business. Let's say Canada offers better ways to open a business and incorporate a business. Maybe it's easier to manage, maybe it's less expensive than Mexico, whatever it is. If that country provides that type of solution or opportunity, you can implement that and you can manage it all the way from Mexico. And so this is what I want you to see and to understand. Being in a country does not always mean that you only have access to those things in that country. Okay, so this is you, and let's say this is your little bubble where we are. We all live in a little bubble that we call country. And so how do you grab, that is the greatest question that you have to understand, you have to learn how to answer. How do we grab the resources and opportunities and things that other countries offer around us without even moving, even within our own little bubble? And how can we bring them into our life so they become part of a bigger bubble, let's say, a greater reality? And so once you add these things, then these are upgrades in your life that not everyone has access to, right? Let's say a bank account in Europe, or maybe a business that you open in the US, even being in Mexico, or let's say speaking Chinese, right? Being able to speak Chinese, or eating Japanese food like sushi. Yeah, that was supposed to be a nigiri, never mind, it's too thick. But that's the whole point that I want to show you. I want to make sure that you understand. You can grab certain aspects of that nomadic lifestyle, that global side of things without even moving, and you can implement them into your sedentary life. And so the same thing goes and applies for all of you who want to be traveling constantly and also want to take and grab certain aspects from the sedentary life as well. So you know what, I don't want to be sedentary. If you're watching this and thinking that, I want to be traveling forever. I want to be moving around and visiting every single country I can. You know what, I want to visit all the countries in the world. Great. Now, if you focus on that and that alone, this will probably happen, right? The balance will drop, you'll focus on this. And if you don't have the money part solved, you're gonna struggle. You're for sure gonna be able to, not gonna be able to enjoy that, because you're gonna be living the traveler paradox. You are living it, yet surviving. And so the point here is, if you wanna be able to be nomadic and you wanna be having a balanced lifestyle, global lifestyle, then your question is, how can I grab these things from the stability side and the money and the sedentary aspect and bring it into my nomadic lifestyle? And so in terms of my specific lifestyle, an example that I can give you is a nomad, or a hardcore nomad, as 99% of people are nowadays. They would say, yeah, I have no home, so the world is my home, right? But instead of just jumping to that extreme, I could be thinking, you know what, instead of having no home, hell to that, I'm gonna be having a couple of homes. And so I want to be able to travel a lot and have a lot of global aspects in my life, but at the same time, I don't want to quit on the money and I don't want to quit on the stability. I want to have a good life. I want to be able to have a car, right, and a business and things that really can, give me the capacity to live the life that I want to live. And so that is the great thing. If you are on this side, in the nomad side, you know that you focus more on that side of things, then your question is, how can you bring certain aspects from the sedentary life to your own life so that you can have a balanced global lifestyle? Now, if you are someone who lives a sedentary lifestyle, how can you grab those aspects from different countries in every single area of your life, and how can you implement them and complement that to your life even if you are in Mexico, right? Take it away. Just with the 7 areas that I have been mentioning, the 7th area is actually the physical aspect. So that means maybe in terms of sleep and food and other things that also involve your physical health without being, moving around. And so how can you integrate that? That is the question. And I really hope that this video has helped you have clarity and understanding where you're at, what you are focusing on, and how to avoid having to choose just one thing and apply these things, whether it is to your sedentary lifestyle and or your nomad lifestyle, so that you can have a balance of both money and mobility, the freedom and the stability, and that's the overall sense of globality. And this is what will make the whole difference if you start applying these things, if you start seeing the countries as resources and places where they have tons of opportunities for your life, even if you don't move. So the question is, what do you want? How do you want to improve your lifestyle? What are the things that you are looking for? And then, and only then, you can look out there without even traveling and see which countries offer those opportunities, and then grabbing those things and implementing them into your life. And so this is pretty much it. This is everything that I wanted you guys to understand for this video. Now, if you enjoyed it and if you liked this type of content, just leave a comment below and let me know what is your biggest takeaway. Let me know what type of content you'd like to know, or just ask a question if you have any doubt and you're like, Eduardo, this makes sense, but like I don't understand this one thing, or you're like you say this, but what about that? Anything that you have a doubt or questions, just write it down below and I will actually shoot a video with your answer. And with nothing more to say, take care, nos vemos pronto, amigos, and paka, sayonara. Never know which language to use, but anyway, take care guys, 再见.